It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. And this is Neeley rocking with your Classic Metal Show. Kicking off the show tonight, we heard Queensryche from their Empire release with the self-titled track. And we just heard Ross the Boss there from his Hailstorm release with Burned Alive. And a guy who knows a little bit about being burned alive and living to tell about it, they call him Chris.
What up, people?
How'd you like that intro?
I don't know. I like it. I love sharing that I've been burned alive.
I was trying to tie in the whole "they call me Chris" thing.
Right, there you go. You got it. But don't be selling it yet, man.
Well, it's called the run up. I'm doing the run up for you.
Yeah. So pre-orders available now.
Right.
What's going on, man?
I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help here with your revenue stream.
Well, I definitely could use some book sales, so.
Right.
That book is that book trying, man. I'm sure, obviously, I'm assuming you saw that I was posting about it during the week.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I was trying to, make a little light of it, kind of lighten up the mood.
Sure.
So it wouldn't be such a heavy heartache on you.
Well, yeah, there's not a whole lot pleasant writing about your getting burned near to death. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, the thing is, you and I have been doing this show together for, over 10 years.
Sure. And,
I don't think I know a lot of people do, but I know a lot of people really don't know your history.
No, they don't.
And you're lucky to be here.
I am. I'm a tough son of a bitch. That's the way I put it.
Yeah.
Even a 7-ton molten shower of 2,500-degree metal couldn't take me out.
Right.
I'm a powerful bastard, fucks.
Right. Well, when you put it like that, I pale in comparison, even though I have been termed a powerful man.
Yeah, well, you've been termed it, but I've lived it.
Exactly. I'm a poser.
Yeah. Powerful man. What did you do? Banged a bunch of chicks?
Right.
Big deal. I fucking stood up to a metal furnace and won.
Exactly. You went into the fire.
That's right. And I wasn't falling. I stood tall.
Exactly. And since you are a former theology scholar,
yes,
who was it in the Bible that actually went through the fire, the fiery furnace?
That would have been Wild Mick Brown.
I said the Bible.
Oh, well, that's my Bible of listening. Dawkins into the fire.
Right.
What's more biblical than that?
That is of biblical proportions when it comes to music, but I was actually looking for the real Bible.
That went through the fire?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't read that shit anymore.
Shit?
Whatever. Hey, if you want to live your life based on the Bible, that's cool. I do on occasion, but not very often anymore.
Right.
Do you?
I stand by a lot of the principles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm for the Big Ten.
the Big Ten.
The Big Ten.
What is this? What is this? A football conference? The Big Ten. I'm for the Big Ten.
I'm for the Big Ten, but other than that, I mean, come on. Everything else is a story of murder. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah,
the Bible really just says that life, if you want to live a good life, it's based on some murderous action.
Well, for the most part, you have to get rid of the undesirables.
That's right. And it doesn't matter how you do it, with rocks, drowning them, whatever. Nail them to a cross. It's all good. Just get rid of them.
All right.
That was definitely biblical Holocaust.
Sure. Well, anyway, we are back after a week.
Walk through the fire.
Yeah. Oh, what was it? Shit. There's three guys. Something at a Bendigo.
All right, let's look it up.
Can't remember their names.
Sounds like an Indian Tales episode.
It does sound like Indian Tales. They walk through the furnace of fire.
Was Magoo Abu? God. Is that Old Testament? It must be.
Yeah, it's got to be Old Testament.
Yeah. I'm lost on the Bible anymore.
All right. I thought perhaps this would be a scholarly thing for you to relive.
I'm done with that shit.
Okay.
Enough with the Bible.
Yeah. No wonder your old lady left you. You just weren't a Bible thumper.
Well, now she's got one.
Right.
So she can go thump his Bible.
Sure. All right. Well, we are back here on the Classic Metal Show after a week away of actually enjoying ourselves being entertained instead of being the entertainers.
Yeah, wasn't that nice?
Yeah. Well, Chris was away seeing Slash.
I was.
I know that's a huge favorite of yours. How many times have you seen Slash now with Miles Kennedy?
3 or 4, or maybe more. Once at Rock on the 3 times that I could think of off the top of my head. Twice with Steffi and once at Rock on the Range.
Sure.
But then I've also seen Alter Bridge a couple of times in there too, just to see Miles. So.
Right.
So yeah, a few times at this point.
Sure. And I went away and saw a big show, and it was a big show.
What, WWE, the Big Show?
No, it wasn't the WWE.
It wasn't the WWE guy, the Big Show?
I think that's what it was, but I'm talking about a big performance.
Yeah, you did see from what I heard, I missed out by not going to the Cleveland one.
Yeah, it was a very large performance, and I went to see Scorpions.
Not the Scorpions.
No, I made absolutely sure I did not say the Scorpions. I said I went to see Scorpions.
Don't want to piss off Metal United. You don't want to bring him out of retirement to scold you.
Right. And Queensryche.
Yes.
And I had an opportunity to meet up with Eddie Jackson and Michael Wilton of Queensryche prior to the show.
That's cool.
And I spoke with Michael Wilton, and I will play the interview that I did with him backstage at the Allstate Arena here in Chicago. It's a short interview.
Sure.
And I'll play that at the top of the next hour and regale you with the details of the Scorpion show. Not the Scorpions, but the Scorpion show.
The Queensryche show that Scorpions played.
Right. Exactly. But
I got to ask, just because this is clearly shameless plug time, how good were we taken care of by the management company?
Very well.
You had good seats?
Extremely good seats.
Nice.
I was
that guy, the guy that was his name, David McDonald.
Right.
That's his name. That guy was fantastic. He was so easy to work with.
Yeah. Hooked me right up. I was dead level with the stage.
Wow.
Right sides. I was right on the left side of the stage. It was just amazing.
That's awesome. How many rows back you think? 10, 15?
No, I was 3 rows. I was 3 rows off the floor.
Oh, wow. Really?
I was right on the corner of the stage. If I leaned forward, I could have touched Matthias.
Jesus, if I'd have known that, I might have bumped your fucking plus one. Might have taken that ticket myself.
Right.
Goddamn. She had a ticket anyway, didn't she?
I think so.
So I'd have been like, fuck you, move it.
Exactly.
Back of the theater, bitch. It's CMS time.
Well, actually, and I won't get into the whole thing yet, but actually we shared the area with the guys from Queensryche who came out and sat in and watched the show too.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, they sat next to us.
Wow. So I guess you did have decent seats.
It was really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was very pleased. Very pleased.
That's awesome, man.
So I will.
Can't say that I had that good of seats for Slash. I mean, we had good seats and we had a good time, but wow, I sure didn't sit fucking three rows back.
Yeah.
And we bought ours. Goddamn.
These were definitely nice seats.
That's awesome.
So I'll regale you with that a little bit later after the interview.
Well, make sure that you send that David McDonald guy a nice dick sucking letter so that we can keep on getting good seats like that.
I will definitely do that. I'll send him a copy of the interview.
Okay.
And say thank you. And if there's any cool shows like that again, feel free to hook my ass up.
Yeah, because he works with one of the bigger management companies. So
right.
A nice thank you will go a long way with that guy.
I'm sure it will. And I'll be glad to do it.
Please do.
Yes. So anyway, Chris and I, we were away last week, as I'm sure most of you knew, and I was told, at least, I did not get to listen to any of it, but I guess our own AR Rocks kind of filled our time slot.
Oh, well, look at him.
I think he did. I think he played all request DJ guy.
Well, look at that. Good for him.
Yeah. So look at him building his audience on our backs.
Well, everybody else has. Why not him too?
That is true. That is true. So anyway, it was a good weekend away. I know that you and I have, over the last couple of months, we've had reasons to be away or, host the show solo or do different things. But you know what? We got to get it in while we get the opportunity.
Well, and I said this the first week I came back to the show. I'm not going to do 52 weeks. I'm not going to do it. I want to go out and do some stuff too.
Yeah.
And it's awful tough to give up every Saturday night.
Sure, absolutely. Well, even on the weekend that I was, quote unquote, doing a mini vacation, I still did the show with you.
Of course, yeah.
So.
Dude, and even when you're out at shows, or me as well. If I'm out and you're doing the show, I call in. If you're out and I'm doing the show, you call in. So we always work. I don't think there's been one show that either of us have done solo where the other didn't call in, has there?
At least giving a little update or something.
Yeah, or where we're at. So I think we always do that. So we're always thinking about this dumb show.
Right. And we were throwing a compliment, at least I was, I think through the Twitter. No, it was an email that they like it when we periodically mix it up and somebody's out, remote. Doing something, kind of remote or calling in and doing kind of some, hey, this is what I'm doing. Here we are. This is what's going on. I think a lot of people about 3 or 4 weeks ago when I was out at that Farm Rock thing and you got to talk to, a half a dozen different, musicians through the show.
Right. Yeah, that was fun.
And that's a cool opportunity to be able to do that especially when you got all those, people hanging out in the same place.
Sure. The only thing difficult about that is on this end, for you is handing off the phone. It's a pain in the ass to go up to somebody and say, hey, you want to be on the air?
Sure.
But man, I was stretching for shit. You handed to Pat Badger. I'm like, what am I going to talk to him about?
Yeah. Talk about Extreme.
Yeah, well, I did, but, it's like, and I talked to him about his solo record, which I think he was stunned that I knew about.
Sure, absolutely.
Even though I interviewed him, 2 months ago for it?
Right.
Whatever.
It's
it's not a handicap or nothing. It is just, you don't want to ask stupid, shitty questions. Sure. I don't want to turn into Natalie just because it's off the cuff.
Exactly. But, I'm not, I wouldn't say that I'm quote unquote friends with the Queensryche guys.
Yeah.
But I'm familiar with them, as are you.
Sure.
And I walked in the room last week where, Michael was.
Okay.
And he did like a double take. He goes, boy, you look awful familiar.
Nice.
And I'm just like, yeah, we've crossed paths a few times over the years. He goes, yeah, I know who you are. So that was kind of cool.
And you were like, yeah, sure, whatever.
No, but he did. He looked at me. He goes, man, you look awful familiar.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, well, you've been on my show a few times,
15 times with your dumbass Soulbender records.
Yeah, and I did. I gave he and Eddie shirts.
Oh, did they throw them in the trash? Oh, no, that's a different Eddie.
No, they liked them. They were like, dude, this is just so cool. Look at that. Wow, there's a lot of colors in that.
That's Eddie with a Y that likes your shirts,
right.
Not Eddie with an IE.
Right. Eddie Jackson and Michael Wilton got CMS shirts, so they were digging that.
What happened to Latore? I thought that's who the interview was.
That didn't happen. I don't know if he wasn't doing interviews because there were several people in the back there, and each guy was kind of paired off with somebody.
Yeah.
So everybody was kind of bombarded with interviews, and we got pulled away to a room. It was it was more or less like a green room, I guess. And I guess this green room didn't belong to Queensryche.
Okay.
And so it wasn't anything fancy. It was just one of the back rooms. And I'd walked in there in the back and told security who I was, and they got the manager, and the tour manager came out. And the funny thing is, his name is Fozzy.
Oh, yeah, I know Fozzy.
Do you?
He manages a bunch of people.
Okay, well, I didn't know the guy, and I just thought it's funny that, of course, there's Chris Jericho's Fozzy.
Sure.
And then this guy is Fozzy.
Right.
So he come out and he's just like, hey, are you Neeley from the Classic Metal Show? I'm just like, yeah, that's me. And he says, well, Michael's waiting for you. We'll go back in this room over here, right?
Okay.
So we go in this room, and it's just, your average green room's got a couch and a couple chairs and, a bar area and whatnot. And it was just, there was really nothing in there. I don't know if it was, for scorpions or what it was.
Right.
But we went in there and sat down, and I sat with him for maybe 20 minutes.
Okay.
He told me, I got there at 3. And he says, yeah, you got till 3:30. We're kind of backlogged here, whatnot. So I was like, okay, I'll make it quick, just in and out. I won't hold you up.
Okay.
So we're in there doing an interview, and I did it in like 20 minutes.
Okay.
All said and done. It was like 25 minutes after 3. Well, somebody is like banging on the door. The door was closed to this room, right?
Okay.
Somebody's banging on the door. And we were done anyway. So I was walking to the door. I open up the door, and this Fozzie guy, he's got a key out, and he's looking like he was about ready to open the door with the key because I guess it locks automatically.
Right.
And there was some woman, I guess she was sort of like a backstage manager type person.
Okay.
And she starts screaming at this Fozzie guy.
About the room?
Yeah. Why are you using this room? Why are you using this room? And he goes, well, it was open and, nobody was using it. I just needed a quiet place for an interview. Nobody told you could use this room. This room is off limits. Nobody's to use this room.
Good Lord.
I mean, just making a big case out of it, and it's like, well, we're done here anyway. We're done. What's the big deal? Well, unless you have permission, don't be using any of these rooms.
And you just want to say, fuck you.
Well, of course, I had I had the beautiful Miss Taylor with me.
Of course.
And right out of her mouth, what a fucking cunt. Immediately.
Did she hear it?
No, she didn't hear it.
Oh.
But she looked at me, and I just looked at her like, wow. And she's like, what a fucking cunt.
Well, she does sound like she's right on that one.
Oh, she was, but it was just like, why are these guys or these people who work backstage make such a federal case out of nothing?
It's dick flexing, man. Look at how big mine is.
Yeah.
I'm a power player. You're not.
Whatever.
You're just the visitor from the opening band.
Well, you know who she reminded me of at first when I opened up the door?
Who?
The movie Breakfast Club, right?
Sure.
Remember the principal, Mr. Werner. He was monitoring the kids in the detention.
Right. Was it his daughter Jennifer?
No. Well, remember the one scene where John Bender takes the screw out of the door?
Oh yeah.
And the door is closed.
Yep.
And he starts saying, "Why is this door closed?"
Right.
Well, that's what she started with. Why is this door closed? Why is this door closed?
It's you fucking twat. Shut up.
And that's when, Fozzie, just as calm and nice as could be, he's just like, well, they were doing an interview in here. Who told you could use this room?
All right, well, here's my question. So I'm assuming at this point you all walked out of the room.
Yes.
Did somebody follow in and the great whoever, enter the room?
No, nobody was there.
Nobody. So it was an empty. Oh.
Nobody was there.
That bitch needed a punch in the mouth.
The only people in the immediate area was me, Michael, Eddie Jackson, and Taylor, and Fozzie.
And this cunt.
And then that woman.
Yeah. And Jesus Christ.
And she was screaming up a storm about why is the door closed? Who said you could use this room? Why are you using this room? Don't use these rooms unless I say it's okay. Why didn't you ask me? Blah, blah, blah.
Why didn't you ask me?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an empty room here, and we want to do an interview in it. Can we borrow it, please?
Right.
Off, you stupid whore.
But anyway.
Unless Rudy Shanker's looking to lay on the floor and take a nap, shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
Stupid cow.
But anyway, those guys couldn't have been nicer.
Oh, that's cool.
Did Michael, as you'll hear in the interview, I'll play in a little bit. Very nice. Eddie was cool. Fozzie was cool. Everybody was cool. Nobody was rushing you around. All right, get out. Those
guys have always been cool to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met them 1,800 times at this point.
Sure.
They're always super nice. They're nice guys. Even Jeff was always nice to me.
They've always been nice to me. I've done meet and greets with them probably half a dozen times over the years.
Sure. Well, I mean, you remember, dude, I went and partied with them in their hotel down in Akron.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And we had Jeff in the studio. And I picked him up at the airport. That was an adventure all by itself. Like my buddy Jeff, not Jeff Tate, but my buddy Jeff is like the biggest Queensryche fan ever. So I gave him the great privilege of driving the minivan.
Nice.
To pick up Tate and take him to the studio and then take him to the hotel after.
Sure.
Because I'm that kind of good friend. And you know what? I'll bet you anything he still talks about it like it was me being a good friend.
I'll bet that is the case.
And meanwhile, it was just me being too cheap to fucking shell out $10 in gas.
Right. I drove Jeff Tate from the airport.
Yeah, I picked Jeff Tate up at the airport. Holy shit, am I cool?
Yeah, that is badass.
I just remember when he did it, he was taking all kinds of pictures from the driver's seat to Jeff in the back seat.
Sure he was.
Jeff was like, dude, stop taking my fucking picture.
So good.
Yeah, and the funniest part was, dude, you remember the studio at 92.3?
Yep.
Did you ever go to that studio?
Yeah, just once.
Okay. So you know how it had like the door and then you could kind of come in and the table went sort of around to the other end of the room?
Right.
Well, Jeff went around to the other side and was sitting at the table, and then I was sitting at the table. And then my friend Jeff and his wife and his friend, who all wanted to meet Jeff Tate, they got to stand with their backs to the door, kind of peering, like arched backs, peering, trying to see Jeff Tate for 2 hours.
Right.
It was so silly, man. I was like, why don't you guys fucking sit down? Oh, no, we don't want to interfere with the show. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we all have those stories about how people really don't know how to conduct themselves, around, what do you want to call people with fame?
Yeah, I mean, they get so nervous, like they're not human.
True.
They're like, oh, I don't want to, just like that. Officer Jim. Or what's his name now?
Yeah. He's Law Dog.
Law Dog. Just like the Law Dog. With all that whispering and shit.
Right.
God, Don Dawkins should hear him saying, "Hey, is this Wolverine on TV?" Don't want him to be offended by that.
Well, I don't even know if it's being offended. It's just like you just don't know. Well, and I've had those experiences in the past where I've taken somebody to meet,
Sure.
somebody that I know, and they just get wiggy.
Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm. They do. But even when they get comfortable, then a lot of times they get even more wiggy.
Right.
Because I'll tell you what, the Law Dog was all wigged out once he got comfortable with Mick Brown.
Sure.
He got comfortable with Mick Brown, and my God, I got to hear every fucking story he had ever read in Hit Parader. It was like literally, dude, I remember in 1987, man, I saw you in the copy of Rip, and you said, and Mick was like, yeah, I probably did. Mick was just, Mick was being his normal self.
Yeah, sure.
He's trying to be polite and nice, but meanwhile, Mick's like, Jesus Christ, 1987 stories,
Yeah.
really?
Well, dude, when I was there in Cleveland and we went to that LA Guns Dawkins thing,
Sure.
you really don't, and because of, you and I have been doing this for so long, you just don't realize how big of a deal that was for them.
Oh, I know. I'm quite sure it was, but you're right. At this point anymore, I'd rather just see the show. I've said that many times before. If I have a choice of seeing the show standing on the stage or in front of the stage, I'll take in front of the stage.
Right.
It's a better show for me.
Yeah. But when Don came down to the lobby and he saw me and came over and gave me a hug, and it's like, what are you guys doing down here? It's like, we're just kind of hanging out. Why don't you come up to my room? There's a TV up there and you guys can hang out on the couch and stuff. And it's like, we're going to Don Dawkins' room. Wow. I can't believe this. Don is inviting us to his room.
I better take a picture of the door. In this door is Don fucking Dawkins.
And then my sister in Law Dog is just like, we're in Don Dawkins' room.
I'd like to visit your sister's house and see this picture of room 4A or whatever room it was. Just a picture of the door. That's Don Dawkins' room.
That's where he stayed.
He's asleep on the other side of this door right now.
Right.
I can't believe it. He sleeps just like I do.
Right. He looks like a plank. He's planking.
Dude, he has a bathrobe and so do I. That's amazing.
So good.
Fuck.
So good.
It is. It's totally funny. And I mean, dude, what kills me the most, dude? Not people like that, because your sister and the Law Dog, they've met how many people total? 10?
Probably.
If that. That's probably a cumulative number, right? Probably 10 between them?
Yeah, between them. Correct.
Tell me you don't know guys that have met 1,000 rock stars and still get that stupid.
Rockin' Randy.
Rockin' Randy. That guy has been, for 5 years, he went with me to every show I went to. Met every rock star you could imagine. And even now, I mean, he went and toured and ran around touring and moving equipment for Sebastian Bach. And I guarantee you, if Sebastian was in town and I said, hey, Randy, I got some backstage passes, that fucker would give up everything he's doing to go.
Exactly.
And he'd get back and be like, hey, buddy, you remember me? Oh, my God, we've got a lot of catching up to do.
Sure. Well, tonight here on the show,
yes,
if we get to all of it, because I really do, since we were a week away and I've accumulated a lot of stuff to talk about.
Okay.
Let's see here. I don't want to give it all away, but obviously I'm going to talk about last week's live experience.
Sure.
As you will, I'm sure you'll probably give us the highlights.
Yeah, mine will be short.
Regardless of that, at least you can kind of give us the highlights of the Slash show.
Absolutely.
And then apparently I got a very long email from Don, since we were talking about Don.
Yes.
And he was pretty adamant about this whole Bobby Blotzer rat thing.
He's for it, right?
Well, I'll highlight a little bit. And then he also was a guest on this Eddie Trunk roundtable thing that Eddie did.
Okay.
Wheezy sent me over the audio for this.
Was he vying for an opening slot for the new rat?
No.
No, that's not what Don was.
No. But anyway, we're going to talk about the whole Blotzer thing because, we talked about it a little bit before, and that seems to get somewhat of a reaction. And there's more, there's more news in that camp.
Yeah, dude, I have to tell you this Don story real quick. It's just a real quick one.
Okay.
From yesterday.
Oh, from yesterday. All right.
So I had a little bit of business that I had to do with Don, right? And Don had to send me some money. He had to send me a couple $100 to renew his domain and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter what for.
Sure.
It just had to send me some cash. So I sent him an email based on the conversation you and I had, and I spelled out, this is my phone number. This is my email address. and you can always reach me at this phone number and this email address.
Right.
And he wrote me back, and he wrote, thanks, I didn't have that.
Well, basically, when it comes to giving you directives, it comes through me to tell you.
I know, it's like, and I've been Don's webmaster now for 10 years.
I know.
I've been Don's he should have my phone number.
Right.
And literally, he always loses my phone number, so he calls you, and then I get a text from you saying, call me, and I hate those, because you know what my first thought is? Someone's suing us.
Right.
That's always my first thought, is somebody suing the show. And so you sent me the text the other day that said, call me, so I called you, and you're like, yeah, Don wants you to put up the European dates or whatever.
Yeah, the European dates and then the solo dates.
Yeah, and he said something like, he sent them to you a month ago or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I looked it up, and they were like 2 days.
Right.
2 days, a month. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Don rules, though. He's He's a funny dude, man.
And
I'll tell you what, I've seen it with you, and now I've seen it with me. He has no concept of protecting his money.
No.
He's just like, here's an email. Here's all your shit. Here's all my shit.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go buy a car.
Sure.
Love Don, though. He's the shit, man.
Yeah, he's funny as hell, man.
Hear what anybody says. He is a funny fuck.
He is. He can tell some stories, that's for sure.
And he tells good stories that are not the standard bullshit. That's what I like best about that. I mean, you and I have both been backstage, and we've heard many, too many stories about, yeah, man, when at the height of our popularity, we got these two mothers and daughters, and we had a fivesome with two moms and two daughters, and blah, we've heard that shit a million times. Don will tell stories about a guy building a fucking deck that will make you cry laughing.
Yep.
He's just the shit, man.
Yeah.
He's funny.
Well, hopefully one day you will have an opportunity to help him write that book.
Well, I'd love to.
Yeah.
But then again, I got to write my book and your book.
Sure.
Before his book.
Yeah, sure.
I'd love to write his book because God knows he won't hold back.
Well, we got some of that tonight, so stick
All right,
around for
good.
that. That should be good. Anyway, I got a lot of things have happened in the news this week, social wise, political wise, stupid wise.
Dude, no politics.
Well, it's not politics. It's just stuff in general.
Yeah.
But it's just ridiculous. This world that we live in these days. You know what? And I'm not saying this in a negative way.
Yeah.
But if my life came to an end tomorrow for whatever reason, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, because you sure don't want to fucking live to the future.
I am at the point now where I'm just like, you know what? What's the point?
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of going on from this point on?
What's the lyric? It's better to die than
To live without hope. Absolutely.
And can you add and change in there somewhere so that it's relevant?
So I'm just happy to do the show.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be healthy at this point. I'm happy to just exist and do what I do. But if it were ending tomorrow for some reason, I'd have no regrets. I wouldn't go, man, but I was planning on, because I don't. Not anymore.
Yeah, but you'd have to give up tagging that right ass. Jesus.
What are you talking about?
Oh, so I've heard.
What are you talking about?
From her, not you. You never say anything.
Right.
If I want to find out anything about you two, I just go right to the source.
Sure.
That ain't you.
That's for her to say, not for me.
Oh, and she said it on the show.
Hey, whatever. If she wants to say it, that's her prerogative. Prerogative, not mine.
J. Lee Anthony in the chat room. Beer, chicks, and politics.
Right, exactly.
And we've turned into Rev.
We have. He bought a T-shirt yesterday.
Rev or J. Lee Anthony?
J. Lee Anthony.
Oh, well, good on him.
From Australia.
Dude, we ought to get Rev's address and just send him one.
Well, yeah, I should.
That would be hilarious.
Dear Rev, here I got these XXX shirts. I hope this one fits you.
I mean JS. I mean Moose.
Yeah. Dear Moose, JS, Rev, whatever you're going, Wes.
What was his other name? Rosenthal?
Jake Rosenthal.
Jake Rosenthal.
Whatever you're going by today.
Yeah, here's a shirt.
Here's a shirt. Wear it proudly, fucky.
Yeah, pal.
Well, anyway, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I just wanted to get warmed up in this first hour. Got Michael Wilton coming up next.
All right, I think we're good and warmed up. What do you think?
I think so. So we got Ross the Boss.
Yes.
And we've got Michael Wilton. And then we've got lots of other stuff coming your way. So stick around. Oh, by the way.
Yes.
Not that I care, but I find it curious.
Okay.
That what was it? At least a month ago. And trust me, this is not me saying, hey, I'm begging, but you launched a website out there.
Yeah.
For supporting
yeah.
the CMS.
Mm-hmm.
And we put it out there. It's not something we promote, but I just curious. You put this thing out there at it's called Patreon.
Something.
It's Patreon.
Patreon or something.
Patreon.com.
All right.
You launched this thing about a month ago.
Right. How much have we made?
$5.
$5.
$5.
Well, see, it's because we're not promoting it every single time.
That is true. That is true.
You know, if we went the Bob Nalbandian route, we could be like, hey, by the way, we can't keep doing this without your support.
Right. What she busted my balls for tweeting it out one day. I wonder what John Astronomy would think of this. Neeley begging for money.
This is why I don't want to do it, because it's embarrassing and stupid.
It is. But we did it just to see if there was anybody who was interested in that.
And there's not.
One person.
Yeah, there's not anybody interested in it.
Yes.
That's the point. I'm taking it down.
Yeah.
Fuck these fans. Can't even buy a cup of coffee. Can't even. Each one of us cannot go in the morning after doing the great show that we're about to deliver tonight and buy a cup of coffee with their donations.
Right. Got one donation for $5.
Yeah, here, you got a quarter over there? Why don't you flip it to see who gets a cup of coffee in the morning?
Exactly. Exactly.
What a fucking bunch of Jew bastards you
guys
are.
Nobody supports the CMS, man.
Yeah, man. You think just because you give us a lot of downloads that helps us? That doesn't do shit.
Look at Uncontrolled Noise. That's more money than I made last month. Than $5. So good.
$5. What a fucking joke.
I know. That's our fans, man.
I know. Well, see, look at Raider. Free is good. See, that's what we've always said.
Yeah, that's what we always said. We didn't ask for anything. We were just curious because people say, hey, man, I want to donate to the show. So we put something out there. So, okay, here, you can donate to the show. One donation. One donation.
That's right. Well, maybe we should come out of every commercial break with plugging this.
Yeah,
thing.
if you want to support the show,
gotta pay to keep it free.
Right?
Gotta pay. I always love when Eddie says that, because if you're paying, it's not free.
Yes.
Like, dude, and that's the phrase he uses. You guys gotta support if you want to keep it free.
Right.
And we're not keeping it free. Comes at a cost.
Exactly.
The hell are you thinking? If we paid you, the quality would go down. Probably true.
You think?
Probably true, yeah.
The quality would go down?
Sure, because somebody would be offended and they would have put in enough money that we'd be like, well, wait a minute, we can't talk about that.
That'll never happen.
No, because we're never going to go corporate, ever.
Sorry,
I'd rather this show fucking die before. What would you rather, honestly? A terrestrial radio gig that paid you, let's say, $60,000 a year.
Oh, no, it ain't worth it. No way.
Or this.
I'll do this.
Me too.
I don't want to be careful all the time. I don't want to do that.
Or ever. You know, I mean, I was, as you know, and you and I have talked about it through the years. We don't talk about it a whole lot on the show, but we've been offered to go to Sirius XM a few times. A few different times we've had the offer out there. How, in what rapid fire fashion would I get us fired from my Facebook?
Second weekend. We'd be done.
If the podcast alone didn't do it, with us dropping N-bombs all over the place, the fucking my Facebook, which is way more harsh than anything we say on the show, would end it.
Yeah.
In a hurry.
Yeah, just ask Anthony.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
See what Twitter did.
Yeah, and I still say what he did wasn't that bad.
It wasn't bad at all.
It was certainly not as harsh as I've been known to get. Or you.
No,
you on the show. But whatever. Fuck that.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Well, it just goes to show you the fans won't support the show, man.
Yeah, man.
If we ended the show tomorrow, they would just out of sight, out of mind.
Yep, they do. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, it was a good run while it lasted. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, the show's off? Is the blacklist on? Fuck, I'm off. I'm out.
So good. So good. All right. Well, anyway, it's out there as long as Chris leaves it up.
I'll leave it there. Why not? I'll let us be embarrassed with our $0.
Yeah, with our $5.
$5. Well, now it's a new month, so it probably reset to 0.
Well, it still shows $5.
That's good. Well, that's good, because then it doesn't look like we're a broke dick show or anything.
Exactly.
$5. Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 50 on it myself just so it doesn't look so bad.
Right. So good. All right. Well, I got Michael Wilton coming up here.
Right.
This is an interview that I did last week backstage.
Right.
They were very nice to me and allowing me to go backstage and provided me with some badass tickets. And I will talk about it after we come back out of this break. But I'm going to play something new from the Queensryche Condition Human and play this Michael Wilton interview. Okay. And we'll come out, talk about, my show and, what I witnessed last week. And then Chris can tell about his Slash thing, or we can go into the Ross the Boss.
Yeah, we'll do something.
And then we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
You got a song on the Condition Human you'd like to hear?
Thanks for getting me as...
Well, I'm just asking you a question. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't.
You know what? I do, but I don't know any of the names of the songs.
Oh. How about if I play Guardian?
Oh, that's the single. Don't play Guardian.
No, don't play Guardian.
No, let me find it.
How about Eyes?
Yeah, go with that one.
All right. Well, the brand new Queensryche came out yesterday officially. Yep. It's called Condition Human. It's a return to old school Queensryche. I talked to Michael Wilton last week at the Allstate Arena before the Queensryche Scorpion show, and we'll see what he has to say. So check this out. Brand new Queensryche exclusively here
on your classic metal show.